Welcome to our September 9th edition of Monday Night Memories, and of course brought to you by the good folks at Chariot Automotive Group. Nate and I are now a couple weeks into the season. We've had fun doing those post-game GoldandBlack.com Saturday simulcast, and we've been doing this for years, so we really enjoy that. Had a lot of fun doing that. And today's show and Rose Bowl reflections. Chris Clopton, one of the really great individuals, wore number 23 of Leroy Key's fame. He wore, I think, number 85 and number 2 also at Purdue, but wore 23 in that Rose Bowl. And, of course, Purdue fans and Purdue donors and others, everybody knows Chris Clopton because of what he meant when he worked with the athletics department for all those years. But you've got a relationship with Chris. You know him well, and a reason why this is a very good football team is you had quality individuals like Chris.
Yeah, no doubt, Alan. One of the all-time great guys, a true gentleman. And, when Klopp told me one time, years after he played, his story of meeting with Coach Tiller and kind of finding him maybe the odd man out of the running back room. But as Coach told him, there was an opportunity for him elsewhere on the defensive side of the ball. And just a good lesson for all of us in being willing to serve where there's an opening and to work hard. And, he goes from being one of the top running backs in the state of Illinois in his high school years to ending up a starter on the defensive side in the Rose Bowl. Quite a story.
Yeah, and it had big parts of that season as well. Kick return against Ohio State was important before the famous long touchdown pass. And I think I'm right on that Chris returned it out to the 36-yard line. But a lot of fun with Chris, and you'll enjoy this interview. And we appreciate all of you spending your Monday night or whenever you get the chance to watch or listen to this as part of the GoldandBlack.com Monday Night Memories with our good friends at Chariot Automotive Group. Okay, and then we'll record a generic close too, and go for there. So, want to thank you for watching tonight's edition of Monday Night Memories, our Rose Bowl reflections, brought to you by the good folks at Chariot Automotive Group. And Nate, these have been fun to do. I mean, it's a privilege to be able to talk to these guys and have that experience. And I think you were just a college student at that time, but what a special time it had to have been to be a student at Purdue when this was all coming to fruition.
Yeah, I think very warm memories for all of us, Alan, that were anywhere near the program during that time, and whether it's a fan in the stands or in the old press box, just great memories that these guys, these coaches and players have created for us. And I think throughout the years, as football has its ups and downs, Alan, it's certainly worth, when you have tradition like Purdue does in football, to reflect on it and enjoy looking back on those great moments, and it gives you hope for the future.
Yeah, no doubt. And that is in the background. There's a reminder that Nate Barrett and company are doing business at Chariot Automotive Group. So we appreciate them so much, and we've had a lot of fun. This is the best part of the job, is to be able to talk to some of these guys that have had great success on and off the field, have good families and relationships, and they're making a difference in their community. A big part of that as well. So without further ado, I should remind you, that we'll be back next week with another edition of our Monday Night Memories. And we're going to try to keep these going every Monday throughout the course of the 2025 Purdue football season. And a programming reminder, make sure you tune in, text, you can chat us your questions post-game. Nate and I will be keeping the band together along with the staff of GoldandBlack.com as we break down Purdue football on a week-by-week basis on our GoldandBlack.com Saturday simulcast. So have a great week, everybody. This is Alan Karpick, GoldandBlack.com with Chris Clopton, a person around Purdue athletics that needs no introduction. And though he is no longer working in the athletics department, still very, very involved with certainly his teammates and friends of that Rose Bowl team, and he happened to be the starting corner on the Rose Bowl team. Wore jersey number 23. Started with what, jersey 85?
85 to 23.
Wow, that's almost today's version of the transfer portal. In terms of that.
Yeah.
How did you get to 23? I got to ask that. Did Leroy have anything to do with that, or did you get it? It
So,
fit you well.
so very interesting story. When I went from 85 to 2, I wanted the number 2. I came to my locker one day, and my jersey was cleaned out. So
Yeah.
I go to Mike Shandrick, and apparently my jersey was given to another freshman that had the initials TWO.
Yeah.
In order for him to commit to Purdue, he wanted the number 2.
Yeah.
So I had an option of jerseys, and 23 was available.
There you go. There you
Yep.
go. I did. It's funny because that jersey number, I can't remember now who I've talked to on this series. The jersey question came up as well. I think it was with Aiken.
Mm-hmm.
Aiken was talking about he was 13.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted him to be 59, but he wanted number 1, and Donald Winston, all that came out, and Joe said nobody's going to wear number 1. So, or he gave it to Donald. I can't remember what the whole story was, but it's funny. Even back then, jerseys mattered to guys and what they look like and what they wore. But Chris, you're obviously your Purdue football career. It couldn't have ended a whole lot better with at least in terms of that season. And yet it was an interesting season because you had some ups and you had certainly some great ups, some challenges through that. You had worked your way into the starting role in a very young defense, and you were the not the oldest of. Well, I think you were one of what Aiken was a year younger than you, at least in terms of class, but you were a senior leader of a bunch of very talented freshmen and redshirt freshmen. What was that like, as you recall, working with that group and its ability to get the job done really from the second half of the Michigan game on? Really did a great job for the whole season.
So, when I look at that season, I would say it really started around 6 a.m. workouts.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you probably heard the story of the time, after we did all the different stations, and, we'd have some conditioning we'd have to do on about, 10 hundreds. And one time really stuck out to me, and I would say this really was a defining moment of how the team was going to come together and gel together, where, if everyone didn't cross the line going full speed, Coach Tiller would say he'd add another one. Well, after, 12 or 15 of these, he kept saying, oh, didn't count. And so what you saw in the beginning was a team that was fighting each other, blaming each other, to the point where we gave up and fighting each other. It was like, hey, let's encourage each other. Let's push through this madness that we were going through with each other. And it really, to me, was a defining moment of bringing that team together. Despite that, you can ask many of the guys. I think it was about 2,400s we did that day. It was in the 20s. But I would say when you begin to look at that from the freshmen all the way up to, seniors like myself, it really helped us come together in adversity and learn how to work together.
Was that experience right at the start of fall camp? Was that summer workouts? When was that?
No. That was during winter.
Okay, leading in. Okay.
Before spring ball. Going into that year, that spring ball.
Yeah, you have obviously Sean Phillips being a redshirt freshman coming in, Craig Terrell on down the line. I mean, a lot of guys that made the on the defensive side of the ball that ended up making the league. I mean, you can go on down the line. Did you have that sense, as you worked into the year, and it's not like, I mean, even against Notre Dame in a game that you didn't win, the defense really played pretty well. Didn't stop them down the stretch, and I get that. In Penn State, you had some special teams issues. Michigan, second half, you completely shut them down. But was this an evolution process as you look back at it in terms of getting this talented group of young guys to gel? How did you view that?
I would say when you look at that season, the one thing that I remember the most when I realized, we have a good team. And I know it was the latter part of the year, but that Michigan game was very I would say, telling in the type of defense that we had.
Yeah.
All we heard the beginning of that week, how great their wide receiver core is.
Yeah.
It's going to be the best offense we come against, right? And I remember walking into the locker room at halftime, and it was a silence.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a silence like of fear, like, it was like at that moment, every one of us had this aha moment, like, wait a minute, we got this.
Yeah.
And that confidence. And of course, as you mentioned, that second half we came out and we played and we played a lot looser and with more confidence. I would say, looking at that, I mean, for me specifically, when I was fighting for that starting position, and of course, you had everyone in media asking Coach Tiller, "Are you really going to play this little guy?
Yeah.
165 pounds and shouldn't be in the Big Ten." But I remember Coach Tiller was like, "Look, there's no one else who can beat him out. He's going to be our guy." So for him sticking up and giving me that shot after dealing with 3 years of how Coach Tiller was and mentally challenging you.
Yeah.
That meant a lot, that he trusted me to be able to help lead that defense as well.
Yeah, it's funny. I think I remember. I can't remember his term for you in front of the media. Now you weren't seeing this. It was either jitterbug, water bug.
I had so many different nicknames.
And this little guy from Florida. But you were because you did not redshirt. You returned kicks your true freshman year, correct? As I recall.
Correct. So the first, I traveled with the team to the Toledo game.
Yeah.
I always say this story of people ask me, what was that defining moment overall, looking at as to what switched was at the end of that Toledo game. Tiller walks in the locker room, and I'm seeing all the upperclassmen about to brace, just getting belittled or cussed out because we lost to a MAC school. And he comes in with a little smirk on his face, like, "Well, I guess that means we shouldn't cancel practice tomorrow, right?" And he was like, "And we're going to come out here next week, and we're going to practice like we never practiced before, and we're going to beat Notre Dame." And it was like, wait a minute, did he just see the game? We lost to a MAC school. But sure enough, that team was a different team that week, and where we practiced, and of course, set us up for history, for making history.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
As Joe used to say, Christmas every week, right?
Yeah.
It was quite the year in '97. But you had a little bit of that your senior year. I mean, you lose the Notre Dame game. Gary Godsey, a name that tight end turned quarterback that didn't run all over you, but he did get the job done in their game-winning drive. Penn State, a game also. You had with a couple special teams issues, you would have won that game. Did that experience you start talking about, and then you're down 28-10. I've said this to everybody. I'll say it to you. No Purdue team before or since has ever come from an 18-point deficit to win. So you did. But where did you, even heading into the Michigan week, you had to have, say, as to use a Gene Katie term, you had to check your hole card, so to speak. It was all on the line when Michigan came to town.
Yeah, I would say to note, I know we didn't play well special teams wise at Penn State, but on the record, I did drop a pick six too.
Yeah.
So I have to live with that. But I would say,
I don't remember that. That's good. I appreciate your. I was going to ask you about what were your head on pillow moments of that season, and maybe that's one of them. I don't know.
Yeah. That was very frustrating, but that was the only team that beat us 4 straight years in a row, right? Which is unfortunate. But after that game, it was really kind of a deep internal inspection of where are we as a team? How bad do we want this? But I will say, again, it was so like the media, everyone, they don't stand a chance against Michigan. They're the best offense. And so we were a little tight. The coaches prepared us the way they're supposed to prepare us, but you don't know until you step on that field. And I have to laugh. I want to say it was the first 2 or 3 plays out the gate of that game they threw to my side. And I'm like, oh crap, man, this is gonna be a long
Yeah.
game in Michigan. But yeah, no, I would say everything that we have been through leading up to that really helped us kind of change that narrative.
Yeah, and Michigan has never been void of talented receivers. And they have David Terrell on that team. They had some talent on the offensive end. All right, so you get through Michigan, and Stratton finds his helmet just in time. We went through that, but Northwestern and Northwestern's a team you'd handled though the year before in West Lafayette.
Mm-hmm.
That went down. You needed 99-yard Drew Brees to Vinny Sutherland touchdown to get the job done in that game.
Yep.
You make somewhat easy work of Northwestern. Damian Anderson was a really good running back on that team. Take us through that, and then leading into Wisconsin, because that game was obviously a dogfight.
Yeah, well, I have to be honest with you. A lot of my memory of Northwestern, I don't remember. My senior year, junior year, I do, but not so much my senior year. As we came back, but I can say, going into that Wisconsin game, I knew it was going to be a big challenge. We had Chambers as a wide receiver,
Yeah.
and then of course, big physical team. I remember getting run over by Ron Dane.
Yeah.
So I knew they were going to play us really. Really tight. That game was very interesting in that I ended up getting hurt that game, my wrist. And I remember they took us and one of our trainers to try to get an x-ray on my wrist to see if it was broken. And they mysteriously or forgot where the x-ray machine was. And literally I missed about half of that quarter going from room to room underneath the stadium trying to find that, but was able to come back and play and contribute. Obviously one of the defining moments is the blocked field goal, Ashante, running back, and one of the scariest moments too, because I was in the bottom of that pile.
Oh gosh.
Oh. And you talk about like, okay, you can't breathe very quickly. Get up. But it was exciting and scary all at once, man.
I think Craig Terrell, who was the one that the ball, he's blocked it, but the ball hit him right in the shoulder pad. So Craig's about as quiet as they get, or unassuming as they get. But I didn't give him any grief about it, whether that was a block or not. But it was a huge play. Obviously, everybody talks about the sound they heard. Were you on the field at that time?
Yeah, so I was on the field on the left side. And
I guess that made sense because that's why you got to the pile. But
and I was probably the first or second one down there greeting Ashante, and then of course the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, and again, I don't know if it was Terrell or somebody else was talking about how that was a little frightening in that end zone of yes, the pile was going to dissipate, but you needed it to dissipate
quickly.
Somebody had also talked about it with Ashante, the ability, here's a guy that had an ACL, I believe it was an ACL, and really was a special. I think it was Aiken that had said that was extra special for him, and for you guys, just because it was kind of a full circle moment that he picked it up and ran. Yeah, he had to just run, but he did and got it to the end zone. He even had time, I think, for a little bit of a move with about the 5-yard line. But I don't think he put the ball out like it was. He just made a little move that showed that he was going to get to the end zone. But one of the great moments in Purdue history, because you get out of there alive. And as we all lament, if you're a Purdue person, wins at Wisconsin are never easy, and certainly haven't been of late.
Absolutely, yeah. No, definitely.
When you get that, then Ohio State comes calling, another team with extremely talented receivers and a very good offense. So you guys really did a good job on them defensively, though I know that Nate Clements had a long punt return that day. There's so much story, obviously, on number 15 and the pass play to Seth Morales. But what's your takeaway from that game as you look back at it? There are so many storylines in that one to get the job done, but maybe from a defensive perspective, what do you remember?
Yeah, I would say from a defensive perspective, it was different than the Michigan game in that we played confident that entire game, and really played loose. I know I had a pretty decent game that game, and even from a kickoff return, having to set up kickoff return of the last throw. of the throw, I should say. When I go back and look at that, that is one of those defining games. Correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say it was 3 times the season where students rushed the field.
Oh yeah, at the end, right? It was Michigan,
Michigan,
Ohio State, and Indiana.
Yeah.
And of course, there were a couple. There was 2 of them your freshman year too, of course, and Notre Dame and Michigan State, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, but just one of those defining games, where the students rush the field and so forth. But I would say defensively, I felt that was probably one of our more confident games that we played, especially with a Big Ten, big time program coming in.
Yeah, and you guys did, and you played well. And yet, and Drew, as great as he was, he had threw for well over 400 yards, if not almost 500.
Yeah.
But did have the 4 picks, and there's where, as you recall, being the 4th one when they go ahead, and you're watching from the sidelines. I know you guys had a lot of confidence in Drew Brees, but that had to have been a special moment just to watch that ball. Or I guess the better question is, where were you when that ball fell into Seth Morales' hands as he was running down the field?
Oh yeah, I was on the side. Everyone was standing up watching. Warren Moore's famous words, "You broke it.
It ain't broke." Yep.
Yeah. So, just seeing that and come back. I mean, we knew that we were still in the game. We had great opportunity with Drew. Anytime he has the ball to make a play, I'm just so glad that someone like Seth, and look at all the hard work he put into it, for being a walk-on, coming on, earning a scholarship, and being a big part of the program, and obviously one of the most iconic plays of the history of Purdue. Is pretty awesome.
As your days as a receiver, that's a hard thing. I mean, it's for us lay people, it's hard to that ball's coming at you. All you can do is drop it, right?
Yeah.
And he just kept going, and I know Drew laid it in perfectly, but
that's one of those balls that's taken forever to get to you, and you're thinking like, oh crap, I better not drop it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that wasn't going on in his mind. He was very confident, knew he was gonna catch it. But yes.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. Again, you have a little bit of a down moment at Michigan State, a team that ran over you also a little bit.
Yeah,
TJ Duckett was a load that day.
Yeah.
A couple important things happened in the interim. Well, one of them was the interim, of course. Northwestern beating Michigan on your bye week, which ended up being a key piece to the puzzle. I think it was after you lost to Michigan State, that maybe my timing right. Northwestern loses at Iowa and clears the path for you. But what do you recall after Michigan State, what you felt like after that one?
I would say the Michigan State game, if I look back at any of the games, that was, obviously Penn State we lost, but Michigan State, I think we went into that game too overconfident.
Yeah.
We played them 3 years in a row and beat them. We've come
in
back
crazy fashion.
Yes, right. It's like, oh, okay, and we think we're going to do it again. So I would say that definitely is the game we let get away from us, which was unfortunate. But yeah, after that, the IU game just became the most important game, to win for the Rose Bowl.
Well, if you think about this, is the absurdity of that. You beat Nick Saban 3 straight years. He leaves.
Yes.
Bobby Williams, former Purdue DB, like you, is the head coach, and I could see how you'd exhale a little bit. And of course, the way you guys beat him in '97 and '98 were crazy games. '99, you handled them. The score was big, but I think they had two interception returns for touchdowns in that one. Still, I can understand a little bit how that comes. Now, Indiana, Antoine Randall, you didn't necessarily have to chase him around per se.
So
tell me about him, because he's Indiana's quarterback. Really as elusive as you can get.
So Antoine was in the same region as myself. We were, we never played against each other in high school, but definitely the same region. We're both members of the All-State team. I remember practicing at corner, I had the pitch guy, of
Yeah,
course.
you had duties, right? Yeah.
And we practiced that all the time and coached back. So I'll never forget this play where, sure enough, it was an option. And Alan, man, it was 4 guys like literally on him. I'm like, oh, he's not getting off. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna finish him off. I don't know how he got the ball out in between everyone,
Yeah.
pitched it, and it was like a 50-something yard run down to like the 5-yard line. I'm like, oh God, I do not want to go on the sideline. I
Yeah.
know Spack is just going to go off on me. And sure enough, he had every right to.
Yeah.
But we were able to make that up and have a goal line stop. So,
Yeah.
but great athlete for sure.
Oh, he was. So talk about, you obviously your position coach, Ken Green, but Brock Spack, it did, if there's a Hall of Fame for defensive coordinators at Purdue, Brock's in that without
Yeah.
question, and the job he did. But his personality on that defense, what did, even through the lens of 25 years, what have you learned watching him operate?
Very hard nosed. What one thing I like about Brock, and I was able to respect it a little bit more when I was a graduate assistant.
Yeah.
And working under him for 2 years, is the amount of the value of him giving the other coaches a voice at the table. Ultimately, of course, he has the final say. But I realized how much Ken Green was an integral part of that defense. And as new coaches came in, he would give them the opportunity to help build that defense out. But I would say he had a great defensive mind. He was a very blue collar, hardworking coach, and that's what he demanded of his players as well.
Yeah. And that was his personality, still is.
Absolutely.
And they don't make him like that. All right, the pictures in the Tom Campbell pictures of you holding the trophy in the locker room, I think with Joe Tiller in the background, one of my favorite pictures from the Rose Bowl celebration. What was that moment like? And again, through the lens of 25 years, a lot of work, and it came to fruition. Yes, Jim Chaney ran 27 off-tackle plays in a row, or whatever that number was. I always love that statistic. And you dominated Indiana, but you had another rush of the field and a full Ross-Ade Stadium field on a cold night. But when you finally get in that locker room, a lot to celebrate.
So, what stood out, when the students rushed, I'm not sure if I ever shared this with you, but my high school coach came to the game. My head coach, Tom Pageant, and his family, and his father, we called him Grandpa Padge.
Yeah.
Was probably close to 80 years old.
Yeah, it's senior day for you too, right?
Yeah. He rushes the field with the students and falls down, and a student picked him up, 80-year-old guy, and they carried him to the south end zone. And so, we're up in the stands, and I'm able to honestly to spot him out. You just see this old guy just, cheering, and that warmed my heart. I mean, because they were very close family, of mine. And so that was a highlight, just being able to, when I look at that picture, man, I think it summarizes everything. The past 4 years, for me personally, the 3 different positions, questioning whether or not I was going to stay at Purdue, fighting to not just get on the field, but to start, and then looking at us overall as a team. Look, we were the worst, that senior year class, the worst recruiting class in my freshman year, 97, and to see what we were able to accomplish, that picture right there really solidifies it, and so many great memories.
Yeah, when we run your feature with this, we'll put that picture in there because it is a great one. Tom Campbell did it. Tom had the definitive picture of Drew with Joe Tiller in the Rose, which is still his. Did a lot of great work for us over the years, but that was as good as it gets. But the stuff in the locker room was great. All right, you get the chance now to go to the granddaddy of them all and go out there. That just the experience. that takeaway of what that was like for you. I've asked several guys about what it was like to run on the field. There was a great picture of that Tom took of Brocksback turning around to Jim Lathrop with his or not Brocksback, but Danny Hope turning around to Lathrop with his tongue out, going on, which kind of told me everything of what it had to have been like going on the field. But your takeaways from the experience, from the Pasadena experiences, there have been other experiences shared about what that was like.
So I know Coach Tiller wouldn't let the small guys get off the bus first.
Yeah.
But we made sure we were going to be the first to run out on that field. So, I have the pictures, me, Vinny, Donald, I'm not sure, but whoever, all the smallest guys, kind of the first to run out. When I look at that, I was just so impressed of just the vastness of Purdue alums and support coming. I mean, that pep rally was just amazing.
Unbelievable.
It really was, and just to see that, the Lowry's event and eating, that was great. But to me, just seeing that support when you rush on that field, gosh, I rushed on many other fields and so forth, but that one, it was the granddaddy of them all. Really. Very, very memorable for sure.
Yeah. The color of that facility and sunset as the sun goes down over the San Gabriel Mountains, something never to forget. All right.
I remember, so correct me, it would have been our sophomore year when we played in the Coliseum against USC, and just saying one day, one day we'll be back. We'll be here for the Rose Bowl. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was only like 99 degrees at the Coliseum, and an unbelievably hot day. But remember, and they took you to Joe Tiller began with the end in mind, because he took you guys to the Rose Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Sophomore year, which is really a great way of setting a goal. Whether that was, I know, the intention. But I think it was also part of changing. You guys had changed the mindset. You didn't come into, and not to disparage the guys that came before, but weren't winning games till 97. And it was that whole thing of expecting to win or expecting to get there. It seemed to be a fundamental theme of what you guys had.
Yeah, and I think that expectation really not just on the players and coaches, but all the fans, right? I mean, it wasn't just, hey, can we get to 500, right? I mean, we expect to go to a bowl game, and not just go, but to win a bowl game, right? So definitely changed, I would say, the culture of it. If you look at it, I've heard so many alums say they missed the first Rose Bowl because they had the mindset, we'll be back next year. And, but I think what's so unique about us as a Rose Bowl team is, when you look at when we came in at 97 and just completely changed the culture, and every year we were building up to that moment, right? It really, I think, defined a lot of that time, of a lot of emotions, and that's why I still talk today. I mean, who in the heck would want Chris Clopton's autograph, right?
Yeah, but I would know. It's all right. Yeah,
but still, because it's a ingrained in that memory of success and the legacy of winning that we created as a team.
And you absolutely did that in a way that I think you're in a situation where that will never be forgotten, no matter what. And we talk about the fact that Purdue, and you can relate in your former gig and all the service that you've done to Purdue University over the years. You wanted to beat Washington. I totally understand that, and can't relate, obviously, because I wasn't a player. But two of the Purdue, no school I think in history has gotten more mileage out of a runner-up finish in the Final Four or a road trip to the Rose Bowl. Now I know Matt Painter and company, they're not going to be satisfied not going to the Final Four again, and maybe this year will be another year. But that spoke volumes, I think, of that fan base. Just the following in Glendale, Arizona, or in Pasadena, just astounding.
Yeah, I will have to say, for the record, that pass interference call was the wrong call. When they called pass interference on me
early on, right? Was that early against Stevens?
And it was unfortunate because I was third and long, and then they kept the ball and they ended up scoring on that one as well. But that was too bad. I will say that was a very physical team.
Yeah.
A Big Ten type of physical team, for sure. It's one of those. I agree with you. I obviously everyone wish we could have won that, but I would say I felt good at the end of the day, knowing that I left everything on the field that I had to offer, right, and to give. So we came up short, but still one of the best times that I'll ever remember.
Well, get us caught up on what you're doing in your day job and any family details you care to share, because I know you're busy in that world and then some. But get us caught up on what's up with Chris Clopton.
Yeah, so I left. I was with the John Purdue Club for over 12 years. I left there about 7 years. I've been in IT sales since then, cybersecurity sales. Work from home, still here in West Lafayette. We have 4 highly active.
I don't know how you do it, my friend, but yes,
yeah.
you and your lovely wife. But go ahead.
15, 12, 11, and 9, and all like sports. I decided this year the Harrison coaching staff conned me into helping coach, so I'm helping with the DBs. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. We got some talent, but hopefully I could add a little value there. My oldest son, he's had a pretty good, successful freshman year in track, made it down to state in the hurdles. As a sophomore going into this year, he should get some time at the varsity level as well. So, we'll see. He thinks he can. He thinks he's faster than me. In my mind, I think I can still beat him.
Okay.
But, I don't think we're ever going to figure that one out, though.
Yeah, I don't know if you might let that just keep that conceptual. I think that is the way to do it.
Absolutely.
You'll have that'll be a great experience, and obviously Harrison Raider football is going to be all for the better, but both with your son and with you and the opportunity to do that. So, Chris, thanks so much for your time. Always enjoy getting caught up. Great insight into a magical season and all that you've done for Purdue, not only as a player, as a coach, as an administrator. You've always been great to us at Gold and Black as well. We appreciate that so much.
Thanks a lot, Alan. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching tonight's edition of Monday Night Memories, our Rose Bowl Reflections, brought to you by the good folks at Chariot Automotive Group. And Nate, these have been fun to do. I mean, it's a privilege to be able to talk to these guys and have that experience. And I think you were just a college student at that time, but what a special time it had to have been to be a student at Purdue when this was all coming to fruition.
Yeah, I think very warm memories for all of us, Alan, that were anywhere near the program during that time, and whether that's a fan in the stands or in the old press box, just great memories that these guys, these coaches and players have created for us. And I think throughout the years, as football has its ups and downs, Alan, it's certainly worth, when you have tradition like Purdue does in football, to reflect on it and enjoy looking back on those great moments, and it gives you hope for the future.
Yeah, no doubt. And that is in the background. There's a reminder that Nate Barrett and company are doing business at Chariot Automotive Group. So we appreciate them so much, and we've had a lot of fun. This is the best part of the job, is to be able to talk to some of these guys that have had great success on and off the field, have good families and relationships, and they're making a difference in their community. A big part of that as well. So without further ado, I should remind you, that we'll be back next week with another edition of our Monday Night Memories. And we're going to try to keep these going every Monday throughout the course of the 2025 Purdue football season. And a reminder too, a programming reminder, make sure you tune in, text, you can chat us your questions post-game. Nate and I will be keeping the band together along with the staff of GoldandBlack.com as we break down Purdue football on a week-by-week basis on our GoldandBlack.com Saturday simulcast. So have a great week, everybody.